All right, let's get right into it. We think of a signature as something permanent, right? It's basically proof that a document has not been changed. But what if you needed a signature that could, well, change its mind? One that could actually adapt to edits without breaking? I know, it sounds like a complete paradox, but it's at the very heart of some seriously cool new cryptography.
So this is the big question we're going to unpack today. In our digital world, signatures are designed to be incredibly fragile on purpose. You change one tiny thing, one comma, one pixel, and poof, the signature's invalid. But is there a way to build a signature that's both secure and flexible?
And this really frames the whole conversation. On one side, you've got the traditional signature we all know and use. It's static, it's brittle, the data changes by a single bit, and the whole thing just shatters. But on the other side, we have this wild new concept, a homomorphic signature. This thing is dynamic, it's flexible, and it can actually adapt when the data it's protecting gets modified.
Okay, so let's start with why this is even a problem in the first place. Why would we ever want an editable signature? See, that inflexibility of a normal signature, that's not a bug. It's a core security feature. But that same feature creates some pretty serious real-world limitations.
Think of it like this. It's like a fragile glass seal on an old-timey letter. The second you try to mess with that letter, that seal cracks, and everybody knows something's up. That is exactly how a standard digital signature works. It guarantees integrity by being completely unforgiving. But what if you just want to redact, say, one sensitive name from a document without having to go get the whole thing re-signed from scratch?
To solve this, we need to pull what really feels like a magic trick out of the hat of advanced cryptography. The idea behind it is called homomorphism, and it lets us do something that honestly feels impossible. We can perform calculations on data while it is still fully encrypted.
And this analogy just illustrates it perfectly. So imagine you have a locked, transparent box. You don't have the key. Now, other people can come along and drop their own sealed private envelopes into your box. Now, here's the cool part. Without ever opening the box, without ever opening those envelopes, you can still do something to them. Let's say you shake the box and you can count how many envelopes are inside. You learn the final count, the results of an operation, without ever seeing the secret data inside. That, in a nutshell, is homomorphism, operating on encrypted data.
So how in the world does this apply to signatures? Well, we take that whole locked box idea and we apply it directly to the act of verifying a signature. And that brings us to the core solution here.
So here's the official definition. A homomorphic signature lets somebody take a signed document, modify it in a very specific way, like, say, redacting a sentence, and then generate a brand new, perfectly valid signature for that edited version. And here's the real kicker. They can do all of this without ever having the original secret key that was used to make the first signature. It's kind of mind-bending.
But you knew there was a but, right? Here's where the plot really thickens. This incredible flexibility, the very thing that makes these signatures so powerful, also makes them potentially very dangerous. It is a classic double-edged sword. The fundamental problem is this. If your signature scheme allows for just any kind of mathematical change, then an attacker could totally abuse that to forge a signature on a completely different, probably malicious document. Early research into this stuff found that the simple schemes, the ones that just allowed for, say, mathematical addition, were fundamentally insecure. They just gave attackers way too much power. And this table really shows that trade-off perfectly. On one hand, you had the early insecure versions. They were way too flexible, allowing almost any math, which meant a super high risk of forgery. On the other hand, the new secure approach puts some serious limits on what you can do. It doesn't let you do just any old math. It only allows for very specific, controlled redactions. And that brings the risk way, way down. So the big question is, how do you actually build a signature that has this kind of controlled flexibility? This is where the big breakthrough in the source research really comes in. They've figured out a brilliant way to allow for edits while stopping those malicious changes in meaning dead in their tracks. Let's use an example straight from the paper. Imagine this sentence is from Assigned Performance Review. It's glowing, right? Alice is a fantastic employee, and the company just can't imagine anyone better for the job. Now, this entire sentence is protected by a single valid digital signature. But now, watch what happens with a sloppy, insecure redaction. An attacker could go in and selectively delete just one crucial word, not. And just like that, the meaning is completely reversed. Now it says they can imagine someone better. This is called a semantic attack, and it's exactly the kind of forgery a secure system has to prevent. And here is the absolutely elegant solution.
The new secure signature scheme doesn't let you just silently delete things. Instead, it forces you to replace the deleted text with an explicit redacted marker. The location of the edit and the very act of the deletion itself become part of the new updated signature. All the trickery is out in the open, and the semantic attack just fails.
So how does this actually work under the hood? It's seriously clever. The system first organizes the document's data into a cryptographic structure called a Merkle tree. You can think of it like a family tree, but for data. When you redact something, you don't just delete it. You essentially revealed a specific path down certain branches of that tree. This gives you cryptographic proof that your new, shorter document is a legitimate piece of the original. The reductions themselves get literally baked into the final signature.
Okay, so let's boil this all down. What are the key takeaways? First, traditional digital signatures are brittle, and that's on purpose, for security. Second, trying to make them flexible creates a massive security challenge. And third, the solution is this new breed of reductible signatures that allow for safe editing by making the edits themselves a verifiable part of the document.
And this leaves us with a really fascinating thought to end on. In a world where data privacy is becoming everything, where we constantly need to share information but also protect the sensitive parts, could these kinds of secure, editable documents be the real future of digital trust? It's a pretty powerful idea to think about.